Do you ever feel your chest tighten when numbers meet your name, as if spreadsheets were quiet judges of your worth? Have you learned to breathe small when bills arrive, telling yourself that wanting ease makes you less spiritual, less kind? Does money feel like a river that passes by your house but never stops, as though abundance belongs to other lives? Or do you secretly fear that trusting the universe with your finances is naive, that faith and cash cannot share the same room? If these questions sting, let the ache speak. Pain is not punishment, it is a compass pointing home. If this touches a private ache, share this light with a heart seeking truth. Her name is Olivia, a librarian whose hands return everyone else's books but rarely open her own dreams. She believes wealth hardens the heart, that prosperity requires a trade she refuses to make, compassion for comfort. So she avoids negotiating pay, declines a small grant to rebuild the children's corner, and postpones the community reading room she once sketched on napkins. Each choice is a quiet tax on her spirit, a coin dropped into the jar of "not for me." On her windowsill sits a small bronze bell. Sometimes, on windless nights, it rings once, like a question. Tonight, that question will become a key, an unlocking not of numbers, but of flow. Follow Olivia as she learns that financial flow is not a storm to fear but a current that widens with trust, integrity, and lucid action. This is not a tale of shortcuts, it is a path where worth and wisdom meet work, where generosity is not an escape from wealth but its root. If you've been waiting for a sign that your values and your prosperity can stop fighting, walk with her. Listen for the bell inside your own life, asking, will you let support arrive as naturally as your next breath? Welcome to Zen Companion, where stillness speaks and stories heal. If you'd like to keep walking this path of inner transformation together, gently subscribe and stay close. The next morning, Olivia walks through the library aisles with a weight pressing softly against her chest. Each book she touches whispers a life lived fully, a dream realized, a risk taken. She realizes that avoiding financial flow has not protected her heart, it has dimmed it. The missed opportunities, the abandoned ideas, the funds never applied for, and the conversations never had, they are not marks of virtue, but quiet chains. A letter slides beneath her office door, an invitation to apply for a community arts grant, small but potent. At first, she laughs at herself, imagining rejection, imagining failure. I am not the kind of person who receives abundance, she mutters, echoing the limiting belief that has shadowed her steps for years. Yet, as she looks at the bronze bell on her windowsill, it shivers in the morning light, like a breath held and released. A soft intuition nudges her, this is the moment she cannot ignore. Change rarely announces itself with clarity. It arrives as a subtle disruption, a pause in routine, a gentle wind through the corridors of habit. Olivia feels it, a whisper that life could be different if she is willing to meet it halfway. Her heart trembles at the possibility that money need not be a corrupting force, that abundance might flow alongside integrity, that her generosity need not be sacrificed at the altar of fiscal fear. The call to change is not an external demand but an inner invitation, to act despite doubt, to align her values with her actions, to let small trust accumulate like a secret river within her. She realizes that even a single step, filling out the grant application, sketching her reading room project, offering a small donation to the local school library, can awaken a current of flow she has long denied herself. As the morning sun spreads across her desk, Olivia closes her eyes, folds her hands over the empty pages of her notebook, and lets a single thought settle. Perhaps trusting the universe with her finances is not recklessness, but the first step toward freedom. Olivia sits at her desk, pen hovering over the grant application. Her mind races with doubt. What if I fail? What if they see I'm not worthy? What if this changes nothing? Each thought tightens the walls around her heart, a familiar barricade built over years of better safe than sorry. The library's silence amplifies her inner chatter, and for a moment, she considers leaving the application untouched, as she has left so many dreams before. Yet, a small act of courage calls her forward. She writes a single line, her vision for the children's reading corner. That's all. No promises, no forecasts, just a tiny acknowledgement that she deserves to try. The micro-practice is simple but profound. Take one step, however small, toward trust. She breathes slowly, imagining a river that flows past her but this time carries her along rather than against her. The resistance is not only external, it resides in her body, in the habitual tightness of her shoulders, in the hesitancy of her fingers. To confront it, Olivia lights a candle and sits in stillness for 5 minutes, feeling each inhale and exhale as if she were welcoming abundance itself into her chest. This act is not magical, it is symbolic, a ritual reminding her that small, mindful gestures can loosen the grip of fear. She jots down a tiny gratitude list, the students who smile at story time, the quiet mornings she enjoys among books, the bell that calls her attention to the present. With each word, a subtle shift occurs, resistance softens, anxiety loosens its hold, and the possibility of a different path becomes tangible. The micro-practice repeats, a few moments of intention, a breath, a line written, a candle lit. It is enough to move her out of inertia and toward conscious engagement. In these small acts, Olivia learns that change does not require grand leaps, only consistent willingness to step gently into the unknown. She closes her eyes, listening to the soft echo of the bell, and allows herself a quiet thought. Perhaps the universe is already ready to meet her halfway. Late that afternoon, Olivia wanders to the quiet park behind the library, drawn by the sunlight filtering through the trees. She notices an elderly man sitting on a worn bench, a notebook balanced on his knees, a small dog curled at his feet. Their eyes meet briefly, and she feels a curious recognition, as though she has known him across many lifetimes. There is no introduction, no pretense, only presence. He begins to speak softly, not to her, but to the space around them. Abundance is not something to capture. It is a current that asks only to be acknowledged, respected, and let flow through you. His words are simple yet profound, reverberating inside her chest like the toll of a distant bell. Olivia listens, the tension in her shoulders melting as if the air itself has shifted. The dog lifts its head, a gentle gaze that seems to mirror the quiet patience she has long denied herself. She asks, "But what if I am not ready? What if I fail?" The man smiles, tracing a line on his notebook with a careful hand. Readiness is not the absence of fear. It is the willingness to act anyway. Begin where you are, with what you have, even if it feels insignificant. The river starts with a single drop. In this brief encounter, Olivia senses that wisdom does not always arrive cloaked in ceremony or title. It sometimes comes through fleeting presence, a mirror, a shared silence. The lesson embeds itself in her heart. Trust is cultivated, not demanded. Flow is practiced, not earned. She sketches her first idea for the children's reading corner in her own notebook, imagining the walls filled with color, light, and laughter. Each line on the page is a bridge between fear and action, a practical embodiment of the insight she has received. As the sun tilts toward evening, she rises and takes a slow, deliberate breath, carrying with her the quiet authority of what she has learned. The encounter leaves a lingering note of possibility, a subtle call to step further into the river of her own life. Olivia returns to her library office with a new resolve, a subtle fire kindled by her encounter in the park. The grant application sits before her, blank yet inviting. She picks up her pen and begins, not with grand statements or lofty promises, but with a single, intentional paragraph describing the children's reading corner she has long imagined. Each word is deliberate, a quiet affirmation that her vision deserves space in the world. Her first conscious shift is clear. She acknowledges that her limiting belief, "wealth corrupts the soul," has been a silent barrier, holding back not only money but purpose. To counter it, she takes a symbolic action. She lights a candle on her desk, placing it beside a small pile of coins she had saved for emergencies. As the flame flickers, she whispers a mantra of trust, envisioning the current of abundance flowing gently into her life. This simple ritual bridges inner belief and outer practice, creating a tangible gesture of her newfound willingness to engage with financial flow. To honor her transformation, Olivia also initiates a micro-practice she had avoided for months, calling a local artist she had admired to discuss a collaborative mural for the children's corner. Fear trembles in her voice, yet she continues, each syllable a quiet step toward trusting both herself and the universe. In parallel, she revisits her old notebooks, uncovering half-finished sketches and notes that had been tucked away for years, and begins consolidating them into a coherent plan. These small actions are cumulative. Together, they form the first step in a journey of 5 symbolic insights Olivia is about to encounter, each one a key to unlocking the flow she once believed was beyond reach. The act of writing, calling, and lighting the candle is not about immediate results. It is a ritual of alignment, an offering of intention to the universe. Through these gestures, Olivia feels her chest soften, her mind expand, and a quiet hope stir where anxiety once lived. The first practical movement toward abundance has begun. By honoring her vision with conscious action, she opens the door to a series of transformations that will reshape both her understanding of money and her relationship to life itself. Over the next days, Olivia encounters the subtle currents that test her newfound willingness to trust. A colleague dismisses her grant idea with a curt, "It won't make a difference," while the head librarian questions whether her focus on a children's corner is worth the effort amidst overdue reports and tight budgets. Each critique tugs at the old familiar belief: money and effort are distractions, better to stay safe, small, and unnoticed. Yet Olivia also discovers unexpected allies. The local artist she called for the mural responds with enthusiasm, offering ideas that expand her vision beyond what she had imagined alone. Students notice her sketches on the library table and beam, their curiosity igniting something long dormant in her chest. Even the bronze bell on her windowsill seems to hum in quiet encouragement, a symbol of unseen support. She realizes that guidance often comes in forms too subtle to measure: a shared smile, an idea whispered in passing, a silent presence that nudges the heart forward. Obstacles persist, both external and internal. Late nights are filled with self-doubt, mornings with the temptation to shelve the project and retreat into familiar routines. Yet each small act of persistence, the drafting of a proposal, the sketching of mural plans, the gentle inquiry of local artisans, becomes a practice in resilience. She begins meditating briefly each morning, visualizing not only the children's reading corner but also the circulation of abundance in her own life. The act is symbolic, a meditation with intention, a gesture of faith in her own capacity to receive. Through these trials, Olivia recognizes that the path of trust is neither linear nor easy. Allies arrive in small doses, obstacles are part of the current, and the most meaningful shifts often occur in quiet, unseen moments. She learns to distinguish between fear that protects and fear that constrains, choosing each day to act from the latter's soft shadow rather than its harsh grip. By facing criticism, embracing encouragement, and moving gently through resistance, she lays the groundwork for a deeper transformation, one that requires both courage and patience, action and reflection, trust and discernment. A week later, Olivia faces a moment that tests not only her resolve but her trust in the unseen. The grant committee's response arrives, a request for additional documentation and a more detailed budget. Anxiety claws at her chest, the old voice in her mind whispers, "You're not capable. This is beyond you." She feels the pull to retreat, to fold the pages of her vision and wait for certainty that may never come. But instead of yielding, Olivia chooses action. She reviews her financial notes carefully, setting aside fear and replacing it with clarity. She schedules a meeting with a fellow librarian who has experience in grant writing, asking for guidance despite the vulnerability it requires. She journals late at night, tracing the patterns of scarcity thinking that have governed her decisions for years, and gently challenges each one with the question, is this truly my truth, or a story I've been told? Simultaneously, she deepens her micro-practices. She lights incense at her desk, visualizing abundance flowing through the library's walls, and places a single coin on the windowsill as a symbolic offering to the universe. These small rituals ground her, allowing courage to grow where doubt once ruled. Each act, reaching out, documenting meticulously, performing symbolic gestures, serves as a step toward breaking the invisible chains of fear and limitation. The challenge intensifies when the committee requests a minor revision that conflicts with her original vision. Olivia hesitates, feeling the tension between compromise and integrity. But then she remembers the old man in the park. Begin where you are, with what you have, even if it feels insignificant. The river starts with a single drop. She adapts her proposal creatively, honoring her values while meeting the committee's expectations, a tangible reflection of the trust she is learning to cultivate in both life and finances. By facing resistance, asking for support, and applying insights practically, Olivia's journey deepens. This is the second symbolic step in her path, a deliberate choice to act with faith despite fear, a rehearsal for the transformations yet to come. The day the grant committee finally responds arrives with quiet tension. Olivia opens the email with trembling hands, bracing for rejection, only to find a message of approval, accompanied by encouragement to expand her vision for the children's reading corner. A wave of disbelief washes over her, quickly followed by gratitude so deep it brings tears. The invisible chains of fear and limitation that had held her back for years begin to dissolve, leaving space for possibility, creativity, and trust. In that moment, she sits cross-legged on the library floor, lighting a single candle and placing it beside her coins and sketches, a symbolic act acknowledging both the practical and the sacred. She whispers a mantra of trust, feeling her heartbeat align with the rhythm of the universe. The bronze bell on her windowsill catches the afternoon light, glinting as if celebrating a triumph that transcends the physical. Olivia realizes that abundance is not merely financial, it is a fluid harmony between action, intention, and surrender. She reflects on the lessons learned through micro-practices, mentorship, and moments of internal resistance. Each challenge had been a teacher, each obstacle a subtle guide steering her toward alignment. Fear, she now understands, is not the enemy but a signal, pointing toward the edges of growth she had long avoided. The breakthrough is quiet yet seismic. Trust is not an abstract idea, but a lived experience, a current she can step into again and again. As the candle flickers, Olivia smiles softly, recognizing that this flow, financial, creative, and spiritual, is the result of consistent, mindful acts. The universe has responded not to her demand, but to her readiness to engage with courage and integrity. In this luminous space between intention and manifestation, she feels both humbled and empowered, a delicate balance of surrender and agency. Sit with this insight, let it settle in your chest, and remember, abundance begins when trust becomes action, and action becomes ritual. With the grant approved and the reading corner beginning to take shape, Olivia notices subtle shifts within herself. Her daily routine now carries intentional pauses, a few moments of mindful breathing before opening emails, a brief reflection while arranging books, a ritual of placing a coin on her windowsill each morning. These small acts anchor her to the principle she has been learning, that financial flow is inseparable from spiritual alignment. She begins mentoring a young volunteer who has shown interest in organizing community events at the library. As she guides them through planning, she realizes that her own confidence has grown, and the hesitancy that once held her back has softened. Her guidance is no longer driven by perfectionism or fear of judgment, it is rooted in clarity, patience, and the understanding that abundance is nurtured through shared effort and trust. Olivia also revisits unfinished personal projects, gathering her old sketches for the mural and integrating them with new ideas inspired by her recent experiences. She organizes them into a coherent plan, feeling the satisfaction of tangible progress, a mirror of her inner transformation. Each completed task, no matter how small, is a reinforcement of her belief that she is capable of both creating and receiving, of giving and letting flow. Financially, she begins to approach her resources differently. Rather than hoarding, she allocates funds intentionally, supporting local artists, investing in community programs, and setting aside small amounts for future opportunities. These acts are not only practical but symbolic, a daily meditation on trust and generosity. Through them, Olivia feels an alignment between her values, her actions, and the wider currents of life around her. By integrating these lessons into both mundane routines and larger projects, Olivia embodies a new harmony between intention and reality. She sees that true transformation is not a single event, but a continual weaving of insight into daily life, a dynamic, living practice of trust and flow. Let this example remind you, when small acts reflect inner clarity, life begins to mirror the abundance within. Several months later, Olivia faces a challenge that tests the durability of her transformation. The library's annual funding review coincides with a new proposal from a competing project, one that could potentially overshadow her carefully nurtured children's reading corner. The familiar stirrings of doubt arise. Perhaps I misjudged the impact of my plan. Maybe I am not equipped to handle this. Instead of retreating, Olivia draws on the practices and insights she has cultivated. She prepares a presentation combining detailed plans, community feedback, and visual sketches, reflecting not only the practical value of the reading corner but also the subtle ripple effects it has already begun to generate. She rehearses in the quiet of her office, lighting a single candle beside her notes as a symbolic gesture of trust, feeling the flame mirror her inner clarity and determination. On presentation day, she faces the committee with calm focus, embodying the lessons of patience, preparation, and flow. During questions, she listens deeply, responds with grounded confidence, and incorporates feedback with grace, demonstrating not only competence but the embodied trust she has cultivated. The project is approved, not only fully funded but also embraced as a vital addition to the library's community initiatives. This moment serves as a tangible test of her growth. Olivia has moved beyond hesitation and fear. She now acts from a place of alignment and integrity, trusting both her abilities and the universe's support. Her practical actions, the sketches, the mentorship, the symbolic rituals, culminate in real-world validation, proving that the inner work she performed has measurable effects in life. The lesson is profound. True transformation manifests in moments where fear and doubt test the very principles you have committed to living. By applying insight in concrete ways, Olivia demonstrates that abundance is not abstract, it is a lived experience, shaped by courage, intentionality, and trust. Step 10 stands as a reminder: the universe responds to those willing to act with faith, integrity, and persistence. In the weeks following the committee's approval, Olivia moves through her days with a quiet radiance, a sense of harmony infusing both her work and personal life. The reading corner flourishes, children's laughter echoes through the library halls, murals bloom with vibrant colors, and even the small dog from the park seems to appear more often, a gentle reminder of the journey that brought her here. Olivia embodies her new truth, that financial flow is not a threat to spirituality, but a reflection of alignment, intention, and trust. Her mornings begin with short meditative practices, visualizing the impact of her actions and silently affirming gratitude for both the tangible and intangible blessings she has received. She continues to light a candle for each meaningful project she undertakes, acknowledging the sacred thread connecting her inner work with outer outcomes. Her interactions with colleagues and the community have shifted as well. She approaches each conversation with patience and empathy, no longer constrained by self-doubt or fear of judgment. When a fellow librarian expresses uncertainty about their own creative project, Olivia offers guidance and encouragement, modeling the flow of generosity and support that she now understands is integral to abundance. Even small decisions reflect her transformation. She allocates resources thoughtfully, invests in meaningful collaborations, and nurtures the seedlings of her ideas with both discipline and joy. She recognizes that abundance is a living practice, a continuous dialogue between intention, action, and surrender. Through these embodied choices, Olivia has risen from the shadow of her limiting beliefs. The fear that once whispered, "You are not worthy of abundance," has been replaced by a lived certainty that trust, patience, and mindful action create fertile ground for prosperity in all its forms. She has become a vessel through which flow moves naturally, reflecting both the practical and spiritual dimensions of her journey. The resurrection is complete. Her life now mirrors the lessons she has learned, an ongoing testament to the power of faith in both oneself and the universe. Share this light with a heart seeking truth. Olivia stands in the completed children's reading corner, the murals vivid, the shelves abundant, and the air alive with curiosity and laughter. Each detail reflects the journey she has undertaken, the symbolic rituals, the mindful actions, the trust in herself and the universe. This space is no longer just a project, it is a living manifestation of her transformation, a testament to the harmony between intention and reality. She now mentors a small group of volunteers, sharing not only practical advice but the deeper lessons she has learned about trust, alignment, and the flow of abundance. Each conversation is a reflection of her inner growth, a subtle ripple that extends the impact of her journey beyond herself. Olivia has learned to celebrate progress, embrace challenges as opportunities, and recognize that each small, mindful action contributes to a larger tapestry of transformation. In her personal life, she applies the same principles, offering support where needed, nurturing creativity, and maintaining rituals that honor both her spiritual and material aspirations. Coins are still placed on her windowsill each morning, sketches continue to inspire new ideas, and short meditations punctuate her day, reinforcing a sense of grounded abundance. These acts, once unfamiliar or daunting, now flow naturally, embodying a life integrated with the lessons she has discovered. Olivia's journey illustrates that true abundance is not a distant goal but a lived experience, visible in tangible results, harmonious relationships, and a steady trust in life's unfolding. Her transformation serves as both a personal victory and an invitation that growth, when cultivated with courage, mindfulness, and intention, can extend beyond oneself to touch the lives of others. The final symbolic step is clear. She now teaches, mentors, and creates with conscious generosity, completing the cycle of trust and abundance promised by her journey. Her life is a living proof that financial flow, when aligned with intention, becomes a sacred practice, a reflection of inner alignment made manifest. If Olivia's story resonates with you, allow yourself to take one mindful step today. Light a candle for your intentions, offer a gesture of trust to the universe, and witness the flow that follows. Like this journey? Subscribe and share your voice in the comments. Let your own story of trust and abundance inspire others.